Hello, everybody. Welcome back. A very common problem a lot of students face when using lists is distinguishing between these two functions, these two blocks, which actually look kind of similar, right? So there's this block called item, and there's this block called item with a pound sign, right? Now, this pound sign or a hash sign, however you call it, is best read as item number, right? So in this video, we shall look at what is the difference between item and item number. I'll give you several examples on how these two are different and how we should use them. And in fact, in this process, we will look at some of the games, some of the projects that we do as part of our class, right? So let's get started. Let's look at this a difference between item and item number. Now, remember, these are both list functions, right? And this item hash is really called item number, right? So these are both list functions which have a very distinct meaning, right? And it's important to understand the difference between these two so that we can use these correctly, right? Now, before we get into this difference, let's just recap for a moment, right? Let's recap what are lists, right? Now, remember, lists are like big brothers of variables. These are boxes with many compartments, right? So remember, we gave this analogy that boxes which are individual are typically variables. Variables are just like boxes, they store information. Lists are their big brothers. So inside one list, we have many containers, many compartments which are connected to each other, which can be accessed by themselves, right? So each one can be accessed by themselves. Now that those are lists, right? Now let's see a little bit more closer to what happens in Scratch, right? It turns out that lists are, basically connected boxes, but each of these compartment has got its own label, right? Now if I look at that, these labels are given as 1 2 3 4 5 until, let's say, the highest number, right? So just because I've shown 8 does not mean that these numbers stop at 8. If it depends, if the list is long, then the labels also increase, right? Now it turns out that this thing is what is called as the item number, right? So item number is basically these labels. Question is then, what are items? Well, items are what is inside this list. So for example, in this list, I've got, let's say, A, B, C, D, E, and so on and so forth. So these will be referred to as items, right? So now that's the fundamental difference. Item refers to what is inside these compartments, inside these individual boxes. Item number refers to the number of that compartment, to the label of that compartment, right? So for example, in this particular case, item 1 of this list, whatever this list is A. The reason is because inside the first box I have got an A, right? Similarly, item 5 of this list is E. The reason again is just because if I look at box number 5, which is this, I have got inside this an E, right? Now conversely, what this means is that item number of A, right, which is which compartment is A residing in? Well, item number of A is 1. Item number of E is, for example, 5, right? So these two statements have a similar meaning, but they are different, right? So item 1 refers to what's inside box 1. Item number of that item refers to which box it is, right? So a quick way to remember this would be, when I look for item, right? So it's like basically saying, if I go and open this compartment. So for example, if I go and open compartment 1, if I go and open compartment 2, what will I find inside, right? So that is item, for example, 1 of a given list, right? Item number, on the other hand, is a question where you are saying, which compartment of this list should I open to find the item that I am looking for, right? So for example, item number of E in the previous list was 5, because I have to open box number 5 to find inside that an E, right? Now let's look at several, I'll give you a lot of examples from here, right? Let's say this is an example that I just created for the sake of this video. Let's say we have a project where we have this list of fruits. So as always, I delete all the fruits in the beginning. That's a good practice. And then I add, say, apple, banana, orange, pineapple, kiwi, and peach to this list of fruits, right? And after that, I broadcast a message called tell, right? So now basically what's going to happen is that when I click the flag, this list will get populated. And after that, I have got, let's say I've got some statements that my cat sprite will make, which is, say, item 1 of list of fruits, item 6 of list of fruits, item number of apple in list of fruits, item number of peach in list of fruits, right? So it's usage of these two. Remember, this is item and this is this hash sign, this pound sign as they call some places, is the difference between this statement and this statement, right? But the end result is quite different. Yeah. So let's look at this. Okay. So if I click the flag, first it says apple, then it says peach, then it says one, and then it says six. Reason is because item one of list of fruits is indeed apple, right? Item six of list of fruits says, well, I go one, two, three, four, five, six. These are the labels, like I told you. Inside the sixth box is a peach, right? So item six of list of fruits is peach. Item number of apple, which is basically if I were to look for apple, which box should I open? That is one, right? That's why item number of apple was one. Item number of peach is six because, well, the box that the compartment that Sprite had to open to find that particular item was compartment with the label number six, right? So basically that's item and item number. Now you may be curious here to find out what happens if I ask item number of something that does not exist inside this list, right? That's a good question actually. So let's say instead of just peach, if I duplicate this statement and now I say give me item number of say something, right? Now this doesn't exist inside this list, and it turns out that in Scratch we will get a zero from that, right? So because the item that the list is labeled for 1 to 6, so you get 1 for apple, 6 for peach, and we get a zero for this particular thing which did not exist in the list, right? So that's one the way Scratch behaves, right? But let's get rid of this. Now let's say instead of these apple banana, which kind of made it a little bit maybe easier, let's say I did not do this. Say I wanted to have, although I call them list of fruits, but let's say I have instead of apple, banana, and so on and so forth, I have these numbers, say maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, say 50, and 60, right, inside this list. And we can in fact rename this list to, let's say, list of numbers, right? So if I did that, then I've got this list of numbers. Now these numbers could mean maybe the X position, it may mean something about the game, right? So now instead of list of uh, fruits, I have got this list of numbers. However, the logic will still remain the same, right? So if I say item number one of list of numbers, it will be 10. Item number of six will be 60, right? Item number of, well, again, apple is zero, but so I should say, maybe I can say item number of 30 and item number of, say, 40. And what I expect from this is respectively 3. So item number of 30 should be 3 and item number of 40 will be 4. And you can see this when the sprite runs this code, right? So I get 10, item 1 is 10, item 6 is 60, item number of 30 is 3, item number of 40 is 4, right? So that's the difference really, the label of the compartment versus what's inside the compartment. That's item number and item, right? Now, before we wrap this up, let's look at the usage of these two in the games that we have built, right? Starting with, let's say, the fortune teller. Now, remember, fortune teller is a simple game where this wizard prepares a list of answers that it gives, and it gives you answers from that list, right? So, when the wizard has to answer, now in our game, wizard basically just randomly picks up an answer, right? So now wizard is going to pick up something from one of those boxes, right? That's why wizard is interested in item certain of a box, item, some item of a box, right? So that's why we say wizard picks up, let's say, item randomly from this list, right? So that's because wizard is really interested in giving you what's inside the box, right? And that's these things, right? And that's why wizard answers this way, right? Now when wizard has to determine when you ask this particular question, right? So that time it should use item number. That's because all the things that you are asking are getting stored in this list called your questions. Now wizard must figure out inside which compartment of this your questions does that specific question lie, and that's how it figures out that you have asked this question, maybe question number 2 before or question number 3 before, and so on and so forth. And hence here I use item number of answer, right? So this is when the wizard figures out, right? So the question has been asked before, right? So that's the usage of item and item number in the fortune teller game. Let's also look at it in the memory game, right? It's also interesting. Now, memory game here, the idea is that this Noor goes to, multiple locations, and and this gets stored in a list, and from there it asks question, right? So when Noor asks question, which building did I visit first, right? So here we use item, right? Because Noor visited these buildings which are all inside Noor positions, right? So the first item of that list is really the building that Noor visited first, because remember that's what Noor is interested in. Which building did I visit first? Or it could be which building did I visit second? It could be which building did I visit third and fourth. Those are all items of Noor position. That's why when I ask which building did I visit first, I answer item something of Noor positions, right? Now, when Noor asks me a different question where Noor wants to find out which position did I visit this particular building, right? So here Noor is interested not in the building that she visited, but instead was it like label number one, was it label number two, label number three, or label number four? That is why for this question we use item number, because remember Noor positions, and we can just play this game by highlighting this Noor positions. It will become clearer. So here Noor positions contains, so let's say we just do this again. So Noor goes to 7, 5, 6, and 3. Now Noor positions contains 7, 5, 6, and 3. So the first building that Noor went to was 7, and that is indeed item 1 of Noor positions. Remember, item is always inside this, the orange part of it, right? uh, Now if Noor wants to know which building did I go, let's say, let's say at which position did I go to, say, building number 5, then it has to look at the item number, because the first building Noor went was 1, that was the item number of 7, then item number of 5, then item number of 6, and item number of 3, right? So that's why we use for the third question we use, let's say, uh, item number, right? So did I visit? Yes, you did. Now when, maybe I answered wrongly, right? At which position did I visit building number 3? So the answer for that is item number of 3, which is indeed 4, right? So if I give the answer 4, then it's correct, right? So I hope this makes it clear for everybody, the difference between item and item number. uh, do practice this, right? And if you have any questions still, please leave them as a comment in this video. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.